Welcome back to episode 2 of Ringside Talk. I'm Stephen Laurie. Joined with me as last week is Luca Zima, and today we have a special guest on our hands here, man. Some of you might know him as the Pizza Man, but over here at Buzz Talk, we just know him as Mike. Let's give a shout out to Mike Pupo here, man. Thanks for joining us. And
fellas.
What's going on, Pizza Man?
What's going on?
And I just want to start, man, with this whole Volk Islam thing. Joe Rogan saying that Volk won 3 out of 5 rounds and that the judges are wrong and this and that. And I just want to hear you guys' takes. I know me and Mike both think that Volk arguably won that fight. And before I get into it, I just want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
I think Volk easily won that fight. I had money on Volk winning it anyways. They didn't move him back into PFP. He's still the number 1 pound for pound, which I don't know how that makes sense then. If you lose to the number 2 guy, you would think that he would have went up. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think with, like, obviously you guys know I'm a wrestler at heart. But in all honesty, dude, he was stalling. Like, he was wrestling, but it was more or less him just, like, not making any significant strikes from the bottom. He wasn't really trying. The ref was actually telling him, like, come on, you got to work. I think he was just stalling. On the feet, Volk definitely, like, that was after, if you've seen all the Islam fights before, his face was the most beat up against Volk. I definitely seen it 3-2, maybe even 4-1 Volk, to be honest. Like I said, it was just more or less control time. But I don't think wrestling really makes sense if you're not doing anything to back up your, whether it's putting him grappling or whatnot. I think they should definitely run it back and, see who actually is the pound for pound. But, I was reading, I don't know if any of you's read it, how Volk or Islam was using an IV and stuff to get more weight, because, like, if you're more hydrated, you're going to gain weight faster anyways. I don't know. I think the Dagestanians are some cheating son of a bitches, some frauds. I don't know. There's something going on with the Dagestanians. They're tough. There's some tough SOBs, I'll tell you that.
They're climbing mountains all the time. I mean,
yeah. Like, they ain't out in the bush running from the cops from the bush parties. We're getting better workouts too. But yeah, I think they got to run it back. I definitely think Volk got screwed out of that. But we'll see what happens from there. Volk's only like 5'4", man. He was a lot smaller than Islam, but he looked really good. And I don't think Volk takes this as a loss. I seen him celebrating in the club. He was happy. So we'll see where it goes from here.
To be honest with you, I think that, like what you said, they have to definitely rematch for sure. Like, there's no doubt about it. But, like, I would say it wasn't 4-1. I think 3-2, just because, like, I don't know, like, Islam had a lot of takedown attempts, plus he had a couple takedowns and stuff, but Volk had, like, really good defense throughout that whole fight. So, and then especially that last minute, like, when Volk was just pummeling him, like, especially how you looked at that, and even like Rogan said, you just can't, like, how could they give that to him? I was watching when Rogan was live during it, and he was like, dude, there's no way that, like, Volk didn't win. He's like, Volk won, and then the judges announced it, and, like, everybody in the room was shocked. Like, I was at home, like, freaking out. I was like, there's no way you can't give it to him after that last minute. Like, he was pummeling him. So it was like, I wanted Volk to win anyway. I mean, I do like Islam. Like, you're over there bashing him with your old Dagestani whatever. But
He's just boring.
It is kind of boring. It is sort of like a Habib style, but you're a wrestler, so why is that boring?
I mean, like, him as a person, dude. Like, I like him as a fighter, but, like, he's boring, bro. Like, there was nothing cool in his press conferences, dude. Like, he's just boring, man. It's boring to watch. It's just, dude, give me something exciting, man. Like, just the way he talks, all slow, man. Like, I don't know. He's just like, oh, to be honest.
He can barely speak English.
Yeah, he's like the guy from Bobby Boucher, bro.
He's like, bring me this short guy. I cannot
speak. Water boy.
Yeah, like, dude, he reminds me of, like, dude, if you ever seen WWE and The Rock's imitating Kane, he's like, and I am the big green red machine. I mean, he's a machine, dude. It's just he's not entertaining, you know. And like Dana White said, man, you got to sell a fight. It was. I don't. What do you think that this was like one of the biggest though, like one of the best double champ fights we've seen?
I think it's definitely going to be fight of the year, and I think that
of this year, there's so many good fights.
Yeah, but as of right now, I think it's fight of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I definitely think that Volk won arguably round 2. I think he won round 3 for sure, and I think he won round 5 for sure. And I also think that if there was 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds left in that fight, that Volk was getting ripped off of him with a TKO victory.
He would have finished him, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I think he won. I think Islam did win the first 2 rounds.
I think it's arguable. The second round is the one that was arguable, I think, and I think that is what probably won Volk the fight. But I have a question for you, actually, Luke, from a wrestling perspective. I don't know if you remember in the fight. You probably did see it. I think it was in the 4th round. Islam shot a very good double leg takedown on Volk. It was so nice. It was so smooth. And people are saying that takedown is what won Islam the fight. And I don't know if you remember seeing it or not. I don't know. But if you did, what do you think? Do you think that takedown won him the fight?
I think it was, yeah, like that. Yeah, I know what takedown you're talking about. It was crisp, man.
It was the smoothest double leg takedown I've ever seen in my life.
Like, with a lot of his takedowns, besides that one, you were seeing him up against the cage getting in. That was just a clean shot. I don't think that necessarily won him it. I think it was just how much he was able to take Volk down and just play with him. Even if he didn't whatever, he didn't work as he was on top. I think, though, he was just able at will to get Volk down. Volk did have good defense on occasions, but once he powered him up against the cage, he was able to then whip him down. It was very hard, man, for Volk. And being a smaller guy, when you have a taller guy there, dude, lengthier too, it's hard for Volk to like go and grab that ankle from the back, get a leg in, dude, like Islam. But I think he did rely on his takedowns a little bit too much. And like, I think Volk wanted to stand, man. He wanted, even in the 5th, man. I thought, you know, both of these guys were looking at it like, hey, 2-2. It's 2-2. Let's just go and stand and give these guys a fight. I know Volk was saying something like that too. He was like, you know, like, let's go and just shoot for the stars here. Like, and it was kind of just boring at the end up until Volk had that final 30 seconds. And I would have said, dude, Volk right there. Excuse my burps.
You know, I had something I wanted to touch on real quick with what you said, Luke, earlier.
By all means, Mike. By all means.
Yeah, thanks. With you were saying about how Islam just don't really sell the fight with the talking and stuff like that. And, you know, that's what made like people like McGregor and like even O'Malley and like these guys great, you know, like, you know, shit talking but they were backing it up, you know. I just feel like those guys from like Russia, like Khabib and all those guys and like those real like respectful guys like that, like I feel like they're just so good. Like they like that sells the fight in and of itself. It's like, you know, you're gonna watch, like Islam's one of the greatest fighters in the UFC, so it's like I don't really think he needs to say much, to be honest. His fighting just speaks for itself. He goes out, he mauls people, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree.
What'd you say?
I agree with Mike. I would say definitely that, yeah, they're not necessarily in there to come and talk their crap. They just know they're going to leave it out. But like when they ask them questions, man, it's just kind of really boring too. You know, like,
true. Yeah.
Like you can see more of the media is trying to instigate it in a way, right? Like instead of like guys who learn from McGregor, dude, you're going to go and make a lot more money if you sell this fight. And I think me and Steve talked about this before. This was one of the worst, I think, promoted fights.
Promotions.
Yes, that we've seen in quite some time. Dude, the UFC was nowhere to be found. They're
promoting that slap shit more than they're promoting this fight, and it was a double championship fight. And I also think, too, like what you guys saying, that stuff about the media, I think these guys, man, just spend a lot of time up in these Russian mountains. Yeah. They're not really on social media like that. You know what I mean? These dudes are bred different up there. Dudes swimming in lakes, wrestling bears and stuff like that. Like they're like Islam says all the time. He's trained for this moment his entire life. He's literally training all the time for it. Even when he's out of camp, he's still in shape. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these dudes like Patty Pimblett and stuff like that, when they're not everybody goes overboard like Patty does, but like I'll use Patty as an example because everybody knows how much he eats and stuff like that. A lot of these guys, like when they're out of camp, dude, like you'll see them in their post-fight conference eating pizza and drinking Pepsis and stuff like that. Like Islam and Khabib aren't really.
That's deserving because, dude, how much they like
That
fast.
it is deserving. I think it is too, but that's what I'm saying. But like these, how Mike said about these Dagestanis being bred different. I just think they just want to get home, bro. They want to get back to these mountains and get back to training because wrestling is. I don't know if it's their national sport, but I know they love it over there. You know what I mean? Like
they're carrying Putin's luggage up the biggest mountain in the world.
Yeah, dude.
Every day.
They're running up mountains all the time, like the Nelk Boys video.
It was cool to see the like behind the scenes.
That was a good video.
Crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff they're doing.
Now, leave me ask you this though: would you say now, at like how promoting how I was saying they don't need to? Would you say though that most guys that like talk their crap are just only doing it in case if they lose a fight that Dana White's like, but they can sell it. Let's keep them in. Instead of the Russians who are like, I don't need to talk my crap. I'm going to come and win. Because we've seen it. McGregor hasn't won besides Cerrone since 2016. But how he can go and sell a pay-per-view. Do you agree, though, that these guys like talk their crap because there's more money then for fight of the night, bringing in more pay-per-view buys, stuff like that, and then say they do lose, then the UFC can be like, well, if he can sell a fight and promote it for us, we'll give him another a chance.
I think for some of them,
like McGregor's an exception. Like he's the biggest there ever was. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really does.
I don't think Patty Pimblett's that good of a fighter, Steve.
I don't think he is either. And I was gonna say that after we were done wrapping up with the whole Rogan thing. I guess we'll just jump into it now. For UFC, I think it's 288 maybe. Drew Dober versus Patty Pimblett's in the works, and Drew Dober is a knockout artist. I like him a lot, man. I think he's a very powerful lightweight, and I think if Patty gets in the cage with him, it's going to be the end of Patty Pimblett here. Like how I like Pimblett, don't get me wrong, but he's not as good as everybody thinks he is. You know what I mean? Like Jared Gordon, I think, beat him. I think that they gave him that win because of the media. And it's just like I think Drew Dober will finish him. Like I don't think it'll just be a decision. I think he will knock him out cold in that cage. Honest to God, I really do. And I want to hear what you guys have to think on that too, because I know Mike likes Patty.
I like Patty, but like, I said from the beginning though, like, look what he does after his fights, dude. Look how much he eats. Like, I never thought he'd even be able to make his weight, like 90% of the time. So,
and that's how you know he'll never be a champion because he doesn't take it serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I take him. I like him, like his personality, like he's funny and stuff like that. But I just don't think he's gonna be able to hang with the big dogs. Like once he starts getting up to climbing the ladder, I don't think he'll ever be a champion. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah, I think we've seen in his first like 2 fights in the UFC, he's very open to get hit. You know what I mean? How they were saying like, he has a jaw on him. That's not going to help you when you're getting in front of these upper like ranked guys. You know,
Drew Dober was ranked. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's going to be a good fight, and it's another test though for Pimblett. I don't think though if Pimblett loses that he's done in the UFC. Like I said, he's very good at promoting his fights.
I don't think he'd be done, but I think it would be the end of him saying, "I'm the next Conor McGregor." Like, you know what I mean? Because obviously
that's just absurd. That's
like the end of like his little like story. You know, like not the end of his story, but like to where honestly, dude, it'd be a little wake up call for him. To where then he's actually training. He's not, being this fat tub lard ass that he is. But like with him like eating and stuff, dude, those guys wait so long to eat, man. But the thing is again, they have to weigh in because it's the weigh in. They weigh in the day before the fight, and then that's your designed weight, like where you gotta. And then the day of the fight, or no, the day before, 2 days before they weigh in, then that's what you have when you have to come in at like 155 or whatever. Then the next day, dude, you can eat as much as you want and come in wherever. So these guys, dude, some of these guys are actually gaining like 10 to 30 pounds of straight
on
weight.
fight
Like, dude,
before fight night.
yeah, like Gaethje was saying that these guys are literally cutting their like. Did you see the guy? I don't know who.
Yeah, once you make weight, you make weight. You know what I mean?
Who was the guy, dude? I forget. They had him on the airbuds, and his face, dude. This was last week. Was skin and bone. Like Conor McGregor looks gross, bro. When he was making 145, like Khabib, dude, was saying, dude, like this kills people, man. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I was reading, I don't know if we're gonna touch on it, but there's something in the works now that Diaz is training to get in the ring and do like a 2-way thing with Jake Paul, like an MMA fight and boxing. I don't know if you guys seen anything about that.
Yeah, we won't be touching on that.
Yeah, so yeah, I had no idea what that was. But I know, like, even with Nagano, I know him and Fury are doing the same thing too. They're in the works of doing like like a major fight that's like boxing, but with the glove, like with UFC gloves. Yeah,
Tyson or Tommy Fury and Jake Paul's in a week, man. I know. Pupo down there on the bottom of the screen is a big Jake Paul fan. He's always rooting for him. So what do you have to, while we're on the boxing subject, what do you have coming into this fight?
I just think I'm going to say I'm probably going to go with Jake knockout in the 6th.
I just want to say before Luke, you say yours, that Tyson Fury was saying, like how how Tommy Fury was saying how he knocks out world-class fighters in the gym all the time, and that he's been for the past couple months. Tyson Fury was backing that up, saying like, yeah, it's true and stuff like that. So this really is Jake Paul's first real test, I think. And I was reading something, I don't know if it was on like First Take or something like that. It was something on ESPN. Somebody was saying that if Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury, then he deserves to be ranked in cruiserweight. So we'll see what happens. I definitely think this is his biggest test yet. And before I give my take, I want to hear Luke's. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think with a lot of his opponents, how they're like, it's a horrible like win-loss record of his combined opponents. I think, dude, no one was really though mentioning Tommy Fury up until Jake Paul. You know what I mean? I think Tommy Fury should go and give Jake Paul a little bit of credit. He gave you already your biggest payday before when he put him on his undercard against one of Jake Paul's teammates. I think Anthony, whatever, I forget. Taylor, I don't know what his name is. But, yeah, I think this is a big test for Jake Paul. I do think that it's a step up. But no one was really, like, mentioning Tommy Fury because he wasn't really known like that. So I think if Fury said if he loses, he don't deserve to box anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see the end of Jake Paul in a boxing ring then? I don't think. I wouldn't say so. Because I know he just signed that with that P4L or whatever, PFO. Yeah, so I think that's like he's going and taking steps. I think though he's probably training a lot harder. Like Jake Paul, I seen his training. Fury, he had like they were making fun of his mitts. How like him doing like sparring with his dad or whatnot, like his practice, and actual boxers were like commenting and saying, everyone messes up. Like it's just you're showing this part of the video instead of showing like the good things he was doing.
Right.
I think it could go either way. I do. Are they doing 10 or 12 or 8?
I don't know, honestly. I don't really
I
pay
know he
attention
normally
to
I'm
does.
pretty
that.
sure it's 10.
I
Pretty
know.
sure
I
it's
know
10.
he normally does 8, right? Paul.
I don't even
I
know.
thought the Silva fight was 10.
I could have sworn his Woodley fights were 8. I
The
know
Woodley
that.
fights were 8. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say Jake Paul. He's not. It's not going to be a spectacular knockout. I think the refs will end up stopping it somehow. Or like, dude, my bold take is Tommy's getting so outworked, that his dad throws a little hissy fit, bro, and throws the towel in.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's my little take, dude. Something crazy like that might
That's a
happen.
good take.
That's what I got though, Steve.
I think this is a very big test for Jake Paul, and Tommy Fury I was watching this video Tommy Fury was saying that Jake Paul's boxing fundamentals are just all over the place. They're terrible, and he's promising that when he boxes Jake Paul in this ring, that he's going to exploit every one of them. He's promising it, and like Luke said, he's saying if he loses this fight, he doesn't deserve to box again. And I mean, the kid's last name is Fury. It speaks for itself. You know what I mean? He might only be the half brother of Tyson Fury, but his brother is Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? And if he's saying that, yeah, this kid's knocking out world-class fighters in the gym, I believe it, dude. Tyson Fury just beat Deontay Wilder twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a monster. He's arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time. And if he's saying that, I'm going to go off of his word. And I definitely think this is going to be Jake's toughest fight. I hate Jake Paul.
Who are you
despise
taking?
him. Huh?
Who are you taking though to actually win?
I'm taking Jake. I think I'm going to take Jake by, like Luke said, I think the refs will somehow end up stopping it in some kind of bullshit way. And then Tommy will like have his hands up like, what? And then he'll argue like that he didn't lose it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it'll Jake Paul will win. But
What do you think if Fury wins? Is it going to be like a decision then?
I don't know, man, because I don't really.
Fury's not like, he's not saying he's not confident, but I just watched his last one. He is saying he's going to knock out Jake Paul, but he's like, I want to get it done in one. He's like, but if it gets done in the second, the fifth, the sixth, he's like, I don't care as long
He
as
just wants to get it done.
Yeah, like, and I do respect him now, dude. That necessarily he's actually stepping up and taking this. Like, there was a lot of talk before, dude, about him constantly backing out. And I think, dude, he has a litlittle bit of fire under him, because I know Jake Paul, dude, exposed.
That's what I'm saying, man.
About
Yeah,
his kid too being born and stuff. So
this is definitely going to be Jake's toughest fight, but I think somehow, some way, Jake Paul will end up getting this victory. And then the question is, after that, do we see Tommy Fury box again? Because how he's saying he doesn't deserve to box, this and that, or will he argue that he won the fight, that it shouldn't have been stopped? Like, there's just, because honestly, honest to God, I see that happening. I really do.
His dad basically said he's going to disown him if he loses. So
I know.
Yeah, I would honestly say, dude, that's a strict family. It's a tough one to be in. There's a lot of pressure. I think there's more pressure on Tommy than there is with Jake, and even Tyson said that. Tyson said that there's a lot more pressure on Tommy, and you know, you're ultimately saying, or your whole family's saying too, you should retire if you lose, and we're disowning you, change your name. I wouldn't say go to say they did, dude. They told him
change it to Tommy Paul.
Yeah, well, no, it's Tommy Fumbles, dude. They had that bet before too. But yeah, I don't know if he'd be done boxing, man. Like, to be honest, man, maybe he'd go back to being like that model boy he was, because that's where people know him from, was what, that Bachelor show or whatnot. So,
I think so.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just would see maybe he boxes amateur fighters the rest of his career and makes
nothing big of it.
Yeah, like, he's gonna get a big payday here.
But then it's like, if he beats Jake Paul,
where does he go from there then?
Yeah, because then they're saying if Jake Paul wins, he'll be ranked. But if Tommy Fury beats Jake Paul, is he going to be ranked? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, Yeah, it's weird.
I think this is good though for Fury if he does, because then it can maybe promote him a little more
No, it
as a
definitely
Fury.
will.
As a
Definitely.
Fury last name, I think if he ends up winning this, more promotions are going to be like, oh man, we want him on our card, a Fury name, and seeing how well they do with this promotion too.
Right. You got anything left on that, Pizza Boy?
No, I'm good. I'm good on
No.
that.
All right, we'll go off of that, and we'll talk a little bit about Usman versus Leon Edwards. Man, Leon Edwards knocked out Kamaru Usman viciously with that head kick for that title out of nowhere. And what do you think is gonna happen in this next fight? Because this fight's creeping up, man. It's only a little bit over a month away, and I just want to hear what you guys have to think. Is Usman going to just come in here and completely shut him out and dominate him? Or did that last knockout shake him up a little bit? You know what I mean? Does he not know what to expect here from Leon Edwards? Is he coming into this fight thinking that?
You go first there, Mike.
Is my whole take on that is, Leon's obviously 20-3 and a great fighter and like ranked up there and stuff. And I mean, personally, I think he got shitty with that whole Usman fight, because the first one Usman dominated, and I think Usman dominated the second one all the way up until that knockout. But if you really look at, Edwards, like the three like main people he's really beaten in his career, which was all by decision, was like Dos Anjos, Diaz, and Cowboy. But like, Usman's another animal, and like I said, I just feel like Usman's definitely probably going to do the same thing he did in the first round, the second fight there before he got knocked out, and then that'll be the end of it, because I just don't think Leon could hang with him. Leon is a top guy though, but like I said, Usman's a different animal.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think that was one of the luckiest shots someone has ever landed. To be honest,
It
I
might
think
be the luckiest.
yeah, honestly, his coaches told him, he's like, you got to get a knockout here, and I think it was a little weird, man. That I don't know if Herb Dean was the ref for that, but they ended up pulling them apart at the cage, and right after that, we seen. I think this fight, dude, is going to be just dominated fight. I'm going to take my prediction. If it goes decision, it's going to be 5-0 Usman or 4-1 Usman. I don't see Edwards honestly knocking him out again. I think Usman literally got a reality check that, hey, anyone could be beat, but all it takes is one lucky hit in a fight. So, yeah, I definitely think Edwards or Usman reclaims his gold, and we'll see from there. Then I don't know. Then who do you have step up on Usman, because he's dismantled the entire division besides
literally.
Covington. Covington's the only one that really gives him a fight.
Yeah. Honestly, like, do they have their third fight after that? Because, I mean, some people do that. I mean, Morano fought, what's his name, Figueroa 4 times. So, yeah, I think Usman comes in here and dominates this fight. I think that knockout really woke him up a little bit. I don't think he was prepared. I think he just thought he was dominating that entire fight, and I don't think he expected that head kick to just come out of nowhere and drop him like that. So
now that was a really good. That was like a good how he did it, bro. He made him drop his whole hand.
it was, dude. Yeah, he dropped his head into it. It was literally the
He said he was
jaw
practicing
connected
that.
to the entire
that's
side
what
of
I
his
was
head.
gonna say, Mike. He said he was practicing that, so that was like something that came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
He took that from McGregor's book, dude, when he did it to Cerrone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think Usman comes in here and dominates. It's like Mike said, Leon Edwards is a top guy, but other than Usman with this knockout, there's not really that many active guys that he has top wins over. So yeah, I don't think it's even arguable. Usman's another animal, you know what I mean? I think he just comes in and shuts him out. But
Do you think Usman would trade or go through different divisions?
probably, I don't know, honestly. You think he would try to move down or move up?
Up, if anything.
I don't
Is
know.
You
Adesanya
think
up?
he would move up?
Is
If he moved up, he'd be fighting Adesanya.
See, and I don't think they want to do that.
That'd be a
They're
crazy
friends,
fight.
yeah.
What about, all right, speaking of Adesanya, what about Pereira then? What's that fight going to look like? I think Pereira destroys Izzy, and that's it for Izzy.
You think?
Yeah.
You think he's destroying it? Is he?
No.
I think
it's gonna be a great
I
fight,
think,
but he
dude,
ain't
but you
destroying
can't
it.
tell me if Izzy loses this. I think Izzy walks away, dude. Like, this guy is Izzy's nightmare, and you both know that. I know
Dude.
you're
I've
a
seen
big
Izzy
Izzy
say
fan.
something about
Yeah,
that.
but
too.
Izzy was literally beating him that entire fight, dude. And then in that 5th round, Pereira's corner's just telling him, you need to get this knockout in order to win. You need to get this knockout in order to win. And that's Pereira's thing, man. He's so big. You know what I mean? He's so big for that weight. He looks like a light heavyweight.
I was
You know
just
what I mean?
I was just watching videos of him training, dude. He looks good and powerful, man.
I know. And
Fast and
Adesanya's
powerful.
big, and he makes Adesanya look like a twig.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Like,
I think, I'm not joking, dude. I think Pereira is where Izzy can't get away from that guy, dude.
I don't think I think Adesanya beats him this time around, man. He was saying like a bunch of crazy stuff on Facebook after the bout, after everything. I need to beat Alex Pereira. Like, he doesn't care about anything else. He's dead set on this. And you have to give respect to Izzy, dude, when it's due, because he's ran through a lot of guys himself.
Yeah,
Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker, Jared Cannonier. Like, there's a lot of guys that Izzy's ran through. He moved up a weight and fought Jan Blachowicz and lost, and that was his only fight that he lost in the UFC other than the Pereira loss. So you have to give respect to him.
What's weight class is Jan?
Peter Jan. Oh, what? Jan
No,
Blachowicz,
yeah,
light heavyweight.
See, I thought we were gonna see like 2 years ago, dude. One fight I want to see with Izzy. I don't know if it's gonna happen ever now. Is John Jones versus Izzy? I thought we were gonna end up getting that eventually.
They were comparing them a lot.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and I think
I
John
don't
Jones
think that would ever happen.
Yeah, John Jones would kill Izzy. I think. No offense.
Izzy's probably might be my favorite fighter in the UFC. It's close, man.
What do
Honestly,
you like when he goes like this?
I like the machine gun thing he does,
Yeah,
and when he starts breakdancing on people's heads.
dude. Yeah, he had one of the coolest entrances.
Yeah,
He
the
was dancing with,
Undertaker.
yeah, I know. And when he was dancing with those guys, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He knocked out. I forget who it was. He knocked somebody out and started breakdancing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's a beast.
He is the man, though. I do
he
like him.
is, dude. You got anything on that, Mike?
I'd probably take Izzy, but like you were saying, I mean, Pereira's a nightmare for him, and like he said it before himself, like it's just a match. It's like one of those matchups. It's sort of like, like a football matchup. It's like this team always has like this team's number, like it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'll take Izzy on that. Not by knockout, but if I would see a decision.
Decision. Me too. I think he retains the title in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that audio, man.
You can't cross over Mike. That's what it is. It's because he's using a thing. But yeah, I'm sticking with my thing. I think Pereira and Izzy ultimately ends up walking away. He said he didn't want to fight too much longer anyways. He said he was looking at it like he's 33 and he only has, he's like these last 5 years went really quick in the UFC. He's like, so we'll see how much faster these next 5 go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he said he doesn't really even fight anymore.
Going off of that, we'll move to Burns Masvidal. UFC, I mean, Jorge Masvidal's court date got pushed back to May for the whole Covington thing.
Oh, when he beat him up in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So his court date's pushed back till May, and he fights. Huh?
I said he warned him when it's in the streets when I see it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Covington owned him for 5 rounds.
Yeah, dude, he literally just went ghetto, and I can't stand Masvidal, man, and I can't wait to see Gilbert Burns absolutely just dismantle him.
Gilbert Burns deserves a win, man.
I think he's gonna lock Masvidal up in a tight ass choke.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Masvidal get all red, and he's gonna be tapping out on Gilbert Burns' chest. I would put money on it.
if Masvidal loses, does he leave the UFC too, or
I
what?
think
Yeah.
he'll be done. I think he'll be done. I was reading something that Masvidal's trying to make one last title run, and I think Gilbert Burns is going to be way too much for him. Usman just put his lights out about a year ago, knocked him out cold. Never seen that before happen to him. And now Gilbert Burns is going to run through him too. Kobe Covington ran through him. Now Gilbert Burns is going to do it. Yeah, I think Gilbert Burns has some of the best submission work in the entire UFC. And especially his chokes, man. Like, I really see him wrapping Masvidal up like a snake. Because Masvidal, his wrestling's not too good. You know what I mean? He's more of a stand-up guy.
We've seen that with Covington.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, dude,
Dismantled him in the wrestling.
who has Masvidal beat besides Diaz and Darren Till, really?
Yeah, that's what he only had that one run, dude, in 2019. He kneed Ben Askren in the face. Okay, that was cool to see. Like, he knocked him out pretty quick. It was cool to see.
And then
he fought. Darren Till was good. When he beat Darren Till, Darren Till was good. I will say that.
But that was the end of Darren Till's run.
And dude, he's another one, man. Like, and then I saw Chimaev saying that if Darren Till would have stayed with him and trained with him in Sweden instead of going to Thailand or something, that he would have won his last fight too.
Yeah, but Masvidal got Diaz too, and they just did that BS with giving the baddest mother effer whatever.
Yeah, that's stupid too. And then
they threw Diaz to the dogs every time. Besides, they're even gonna do it with Hamzat, but Hamzat missed weight, which Diaz got lucky. But still, dude, they're gonna throw. They just every time the UFC wanted to build a star, they threw him to Diaz, McGregor. You know what I mean? Even though McGregor was made, but it was like, all right, now this is gonna secure McGregor once again. You know, they did it. Leon Edwards. They needed to boost Leon Edwards up. Throw him to Diaz.
That's credit to Diaz, though. You know, Diaz is a great fighter. He has a lot of losses on his record, but he's fought the top guys for most of his career. You know.
Mike? Are you Nate Diaz's army?
I like Diaz. Yeah.
Nah.
I heard they're actually trying to get Nick another fight too, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw that too. He's trying to make a comeback this
year. He's saying some crazy stuff, dude. He's like, he wants Usman, if anything.
Yeah, he'd get swept. Yeah. He's doing that for me. He's doing that for media.
Yeah, he would.
He's 100 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you got smoked by Robbie Lawler, dude.
Yeah, Robbie Lawler's 82.
Yeah.
Isn't Burns coming off a loss to Hamzat?
Gilbert Burns just won.
Who'd he beat? Last?
He lost Hamzat a little bit ago.
Yeah, and then
that was a good fight.
He just beat Jeff Neal, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he lost to Hamzat like a year ago.
Mm-hmm. That was a good fight.
Yeah, that was Hamzat's like test. That was his big test. He didn't knock him out. It was a decision, right? It was 3-2 Hamzat, I believe.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because that was when he took the most significant strikes in his career.
Mm-hmm. All right, going off of that, Luke, I know you'll like this one. We'll get into, as the wrestling perspective, I know you'll like this one. We'll get into Bo Nickel. He's making his UFC debut. Former Penn State wrestling stud. He's MMA records 3-0. He's making his UFC debut. On this main card coming up. He was in the Contender Series. I don't really count that. So
do they count that on his record though, right? Or no?
I don't know actually.
Because I know he's 2-0 or 3-0 right now.
He's 3-0.
Yeah, I think they might. I don't know if they did.
Yeah, I don't know. But he's making his main card debut and his UFC debut in this fight. I think he's fighting Jamie Pickett. I believe he's 13-8. So this is a test for Bo Nickel. And Luke, I want to hear what you have to say first. What do you think, man, about Bo Nickel?
Bo Nickel's an absolute beast, man. Multi-time national champion for Penn State, dude. Penn State is the greatest actually wrestling school in the country. These guys produced an insane amount of people. Zane Rutherford, Dave, crap ton. Bo Nickel, dude, is gonna prove something to where all right, wrestling. But he even said he needs to work on his standing more. That you can't just win with wrestling. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to see a guy from Penn State work his way. I think a lot of these wrestlers, after seeing Bo Nichols, will go and like consider jumping over into mixed martial arts, because honestly, after college with wrestling, you're either just going on like Team USA and doing stuff with like Jordan Burroughs and stuff, and like Zane Rutherford's a beast, but that Gable Stevenson guy, I'd love to see him in the UFC one day. I know he signed with WWE, but back to Bo Nickel, I think this is a big test for him. Definitely needs a W here. We'll see if he can stand with him, but I see him more or less just taking him down and controlling him, playing with his food a little bit. But yeah, shout out to Penn State Wrestling, dude. That's an incredible school, and they produce the best of the best in the country and in the world.
Mike? Yeah, so I mean, like you were saying about, being from Penn State, and also like I'll definitely be rooting for him. I'm not too educated on him much because he's just coming up, but it will be a good test for him, and especially a guy who's what you said 13-8. I mean, that's
no, he's 3-0. Oh, what? Jamie Pickett's 13-8.
Yeah, 13-8. That's a good test for him to get on his first card. And but like you were also saying about, huh?
No, go ahead. My bad.
I was just saying how you were talking about like you want to see like more wrestlers after college like go into the UFC. I feel like if they could throw hands and they feel like they could train well enough and like get good enough to not just use their wrestling and get really into mixed martial arts, like that could be huge for the whole sport, like in general. But and Penn State, like you said, they've always been like that. They've always been the top like wrestling school in the nation. So like, yeah, I'm excited to see what Bo does, and I'll definitely be watching that one. Just more so of a Pennsylvania guy, who's coming up, and hopefully he could get to the top someday.
What card's that on, Steve? Yeah.
285 to Jones.
Okay, when's that?
February 5th. It's in like 2 weeks.
Jones?
Yeah, it's February 5th, I think.
I thought Jones wasn't fighting. I thought he wasn't fighting.
I mean, March 5th. I'm sorry.
Wow, that is coming up. Wow.
UFC 285 is Saturday, March 4th. It's coming up in about 2 weeks.
Jones.
Yeah. And then Valentina Shevchenko, arguably the best women's fighter in the entire UFC. She's making a title defense too. I think she's going to dominate. But going back to Bo Nickel, I'm excited to see him make his debut. I do think that he needs to work on his striking. Not a little bit, a lot, honestly. He's not the best striker. His wrestling is good. I saw that he said that if he was to meet Alex Pereira or Israel Adesanya in the ring, and if it was a wrestling match, that he would just dominate them, which I think is a little bit of an overstatement, given that Pereira's so big. You know what I mean?
But he's a multi-time national.
He is. But these guys are also world title kickboxers. You know what I mean? That now wrestling, and yeah, exactly. And but I am excited to see what Bo Nickel can do. I do think that wrestling is one of the best skill sets that you can have in MMA. And I think this fight against Jamie Pickett's pretty well-rounded, I would say. He's not, like, one of the best.
What do they call him? The Night Wolf? I think they do, bro.
It's a good test for him, though. I mean, he's not going to fight the best right away.
Yeah, I mean, 13-8. I mean, his record's still positive. It's not a great record. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's still a big test. It's obviously he has experience. You know what I mean? He has over 20 fights. So, we'll see what Bo Nickel can put together against him. I think he'll just try to wrestle him and maybe try to like tap him out. And I think that'll be it. But if Jamie Pickett wins, I think it'll be a decision over Bo Nickel. I don't think he'll finish Bo Nickel. I think it'll just be a decision, because you have to think that Bo Nickel's wrestling, man, if they get on the floor, dude, he can do anything he wants to pretty much anybody in the entire UFC if he was to get them on the ground. His wrestling is so good. It's arguably the best in the entire UFC, honestly. It really is. Like, people say that Hamzat's a really good wrestler, that Kobe Covington's I think Covington's probably the best wrestler. As of right now, I think Kobe Covington's
most conditioned, honestly, man. He can do that for 5 straight
days. What I mean. Yeah, like what the wrestling that he put up against Usman was great. Like, you know what I mean? He always puts up great
And
fights.
and Usman's known to be a guy who like overpowers people and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
In
Exactly.
the first Masvidal fight, man, he was just tramping on Masvidal's foot. I don't know
Mhm.
if you remember that. It was a kind of
Yeah.
just a boring fight.
And yeah, Covington's a Division One wrestler. Obviously, Bo Nickel is too. Covington's so dominant in the UFC. You know what I mean? He was only a wrestler. He had Masvidal teaching him like how to strike and stuff like that. But whatever, you know what I mean? It could be the same story for Bo Nickel in this weight. You know what I mean? It could be another Kobe Covington story. Like, will this kid get this fight? Maybe he'll lose this fight and he'll realize, like, okay, I need to really work on my stand up. You know what I mean? And I can be very successful in this league. And maybe he'll do that, man. But I'm hoping for Bo Nickel to win this fight. To be honest with you, you got to root for the Pennsylvania guys, given that we're all from Pennsylvania. And shout out Brett Beach too. I know this is a UFC pod, but Super Bowl champ. Maybe you'll bring that back home to MC.
He
And
shouted out Mount Carmel on the Pat McAfee show.
I saw, yeah, that's why I
Did
wanted
he?
to give him a little shout out from the buzz.
Well, I just want him to know if I go and see that trophy, I'm wearing my Jalen Hurts jersey to see it too.
But I'm gonna say about the Bo thing. I'm just gonna put it on record. I'm gonna say Bo submission, probably third round.
Me too.
Well, I think they're only fighting 3 rounds too. So I would
Yeah,
say
It
it's
is a
only
third.
three.
It is a 3-round fight.
yeah, I would say
I'm gonna
Bo
say it's
gets
gonna
him
go
after
3.
2.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bo Nickel arm triangle, second round.
I like that. Yeah.
You guys got anything else on that?
Mm-mm.
You just want to get into a little bit of? We'll get into a little bit more of this John Jones, Cyril Gahn.
The Sterling and Cejudo.
Oh yeah. You wanted to get into Henry Cejudo a little
Yeah,
bit.
I think it's a little messed up that he's getting this over O'Malley. I thought O'Malley was supposed to go and get the title shot next after everything. I mean, Cejudo is a legend in the UFC. Don't get me wrong, but I just saw O'Malley with a victory over Yan. That was like whoever won that fight was getting the next thing. I don't know if the UFC doesn't think O'Malley's really ready for Sterling, but and Sterling said then after, if he beats Cejudo, who's left? O'Malley. You know what I mean? Like
Sterling could move up.
yeah, well, yeah, I know that's he's
a
getting
big
sick
dude.
of,
He could move up.
yeah, he's getting sick of cutting down a lot, but still,
Yeah.
like, dude, then that just leaves it, and I can actually see him going up because I think the UFC wants O'Malley to get that title, and if
Me too.
Sterling's not there, then it might go like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Sterling's good, man.
I think it's a little messed up though how these guys keep cutting, like all these guys, how much they cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should just fight at your designated spot.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, man. It really is. I think the whole thing around Sean O'Malley, man. Sean O'Malley's very good. Don't get me wrong, but he also has a very big like media background. You know what I mean? It's the media.
And ego in a way too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think that is why I don't think Sean O'Malley is really ready for Sterling. You know what I mean? Yeah, he beat Peter Yan, but a lot of people also say that Peter Yan won that fight. You know what I mean? It can go either way. You know, just like the Volk Islam fight, it can go either way. Whatever. Different people have their different thoughts, but I don't know. I think if Sterling fights Cejudo, I think Sterling beats Cejudo because Cejudo hasn't
probably out of shape.
Yeah, and also Sterling's a lot more built than he was a couple years ago, dude. When Peter Yan kneed him in the face, remember that? He's not as skinny as he was back then. Like he's got a lot of muscle to him now.
Yeah,
he's cut. Yeah, he's pretty jacked, dude. Like, and I think this is a different animal that Henry Cejudo hasn't faced in this division yet. Yeah, he fought TJ Dillashaw, beat him for the double champ. And but Aljamain Sterling is very good. He's very good. I think he'd be too much for Henry Cejudo to handle. Yeah, he's an Olympic champion wrestler, gold medalist, whatever. But it's 2023. You know what I mean? It's not.
These guys are different breeds now.
It's not 2008.
Yeah, I mean, Cejudo's like, I mean, I've always been back and forth with Cejudo. I like him, then I don't like him, but like, I don't know if he is ready for Sterling, especially after being retired for however long he's been out of the ring, or out of the octagon. So it's like if that fight does happen, I'm definitely going to take Sterling, and then see what happens from there with O'Malley and stuff like that. But I do agree that O'Malley's not. I don't think he's ready yet for Sterling because, like, yeah, Peter. I honestly thought Peter Yan won that fight. Like when I watched it, like I was shocked that they gave it to O'Malley, and I was thinking like, oh, it's rigged because he has such a big social media following, and they just want him to keep climbing the ladder in that division. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna take Sterling on that.
Anything? Yeah, I agree. See now, I don't know like Steve. Who do you think? Who's better than Jan or Sterling? Because both of their fights were very
I think
controversial.
Sterling now. I think Sterling is, but before when Jan was in his prime, I think Jan was better. Like
Yeah,
when Jan need him, I think Jan probably would have won that fight. But now, if they were to fight again for the title, I think Sterling would beat him.
yeah.
So
I don't know if O'Malley's ready yet, but I think, dude, you have to just give the kid his opportunity.
yeah, you do.
But like,
But
it's smart. It's smart with the UFC because they know, all right, this kid could be the face of it. So if Sterling does have the plan to move up, then do we? And then give O'Malley that title shot against someone besides Jan, or maybe run it back with Jan.
mhm,
But I know there's bad beef with Cejudo and O'Malley. So then I could see if Henry gets in there that O'Malley and Cejudo
yeah,
maybe go at it then
yeah,
too.
that's a good
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
I
Good
think
take.
I think Jan and O'Malley should run it back just because how it ended.
I
But
think
we'll
Definitely.
they
see.
will eventually. I think,
Yeah,
but not yet. One of them's going to become a champion first, and then they'll run it back.
Mm-hmm.
But going off of that, I want to get into because me and Luke talked about it last week. The Jones versus Gone, obviously coming up on March 4th. We just said that. Now that Mike's here, I just want to hear or go back over this a little bit. John Jones is obviously moving up to heavyweight, fighting Cyril Gane for a title that's vacated by Francis Ngannou. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this fight? Do you think that John Jones just comes in here and whoops Cyril Gane, or do you think that Cyril Gane just dominates him? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are John Jones is the underdog, and a lot of people are saying that Cyril Gane's too big for him, that he's too much for him to handle. Me personally, I don't think that. I think John Jones is the greatest of all time. I've been watching his videos of him training and stuff like that, like hitting the bag. He's huge. He's ready to go, man. He's been out of the game for 3 years, and I saw Joe Rogan said this too. We might see John Jones come in the heavyweight and be better than he was in light heavyweight, given how big he is now. You know what I mean? I think he is going to come in here and, excuse my language, I think he's going to beat the shit out of Cyril Gane. I really do. He's gonna, honestly. The kid was our age, dude. He's 23 years old running through world champions, the best fighters in the
Yeah,
world.
the only one he was ever scared of, he said, was Rampage Jackson.
Like, and he
And
beat him.
that's because though he had that respect for Rampage.
Yeah, and he still beat him. Like his John Jones's mindset is he's great. Is great. He's the greatest of all time. There's nobody on the planet that I would put up against John Jones beating him in a fight. There really isn't. Honestly, like he's gonna come in here and he's gonna be a heavyweight champion. Mark my words.
yeah. First of all, I'm disappointed that the Ngannou fight didn't happen with Jones, but I mean, I don't know if John Jones is ready for Ngannou yet, just coming back after all this time off. So, I mean, maybe that fight's better. I don't even know what Ngannou's doing. Didn't he sign with the thing that Jake Paul's doing, the PFL or whatever?
They're trying to get him into that. I don't think he is. I think he's gonna go and try to get this super fight with Fury. Because
Yeah.
dude, when you box, dude, dude, Fury makes it like a couple hundred mil when he's
Yeah.
boxing, dude. So like he was one of the most highest paid boxers this year.
Alex Pereira said that it would be suicide for Francis Ngannou to go in there and box
Yeah,
Tyson Fury. I think
I
it
think
would too.
I think, dude, like Fury would probably pick him apart, but dude,
Me
if
too. I think he would.
but like, dude, I think by far Nagano, man, has a harder hit than Wilder.
Yeah, I don't like
But
Ngannou though, man.
with bigger gloves on, man, you don't know.
I
But
think Ngannou was scared of John Jones. Like I think he left the. He was in talks of that contract for 2 years, and then when this date's about to get confirmed with the best fighter ever, he's moving up to heavyweight. He saw how big he was. He saw how hard he was training for this fight. Then you decide to leave the UFC. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, I just think I do think with the Cyril Gane fight, I'm gonna go with John Jones just because he is the GOAT. I don't think I've ever seen anybody in the UFC who's honestly put on better fights or has ran through divisions like he has. Like he's that good. And I mean, he has had a lot of time off. He is moving up a weight class, but like you said, Lori, we watched those videos of him training. He does look big. Like he looks big and he looks like he's hitting hard.
Not only does he look big, he looks fast. And like you said, he's hitting hard.
Yeah, he looked really good. So I'm probably gonna take John Jones. I honestly don't know at this point like what it's gonna be. I don't know if I see him knocking him out or if it's gonna be a decision. I'd probably lean more toward a decision, just because he's going up a weight class. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll definitely be taking Jones though.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Jones. I think this is going to be a big test with it. So, I mean, dude, they offered it to Stipe, but I mean, I think Stipe is just waiting after. Isn't this last fight Stipe fought when he got flattened by Nagano?
Yeah. Put him out.
And he retired.
Yeah, well, Stipe, just stay asleep, man, and whatever.
Keep firefighting.
Yeah.
Mike, we know you and Reno have respect for him.
I do. I have respect for him as a fellow firefighter.
Yeah, he got my respect. He's just there's no way he takes on Jones. Cyril was probably the best thing that could have happened, like matchup wise. And if they throw Tua or whatever his name is, Shuey, the guy who does the Shuey, Jones would flatten him. Jones would absolutely kill him. Yeah.
He would.
But that's my take. Jones, I could see Jones. Cyril, I don't think is gonna get knocked out, but he was proven, dude, that Shuey guy to Zoa or whatnot did actually knock him down once or twice. So I don't know. Maybe we see John Jones, dude, to actually score a knockout. And you guys know by watching when Jones is on someone, dude, pounding down, that ref after like 1 to 4 hits, dude, he's like instantly pulling off, especially if they're hitting in the back of the head. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, so we all have Jones going into this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gane did knock out Derek Lewis, and Tuivasa.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. But we're going to wrap it up with that. Thank you guys for watching. Second episode of Ringside Talk. Second episode will be out next week on Tuesday. Thank you guys.